Hello, welcome back. A student of mine asked me about scaling laws and asked me to explain why are scaling laws so important, why are they key to the whole model building. Scaling laws were originally developed by Benoit Mandelbrot, who very far back during the Second World War kind of read the mathematics textbooks from a different angle. He suddenly realized that actually the shapes that we see in nature are not covered in traditional geometry and mathematics books, that the irregular shapes of nature are not described by that. So all his life he spent and developed tools to describe these irregular shapes. Now, if you talk of financial markets, financial markets, they don't move in straight lines, but actually the key characteristic is that they move in a very zigzag way. Going back in 1993, we discovered the first scaling law. That is, if you take a time interval of a half an hour, the average price move, say, is that much. If you double the time interval to 1 hour, then by a fixed percentage amount, the average will increase. But now important, when you double from, say, 1 day to 2 days, it's the same percentage amount. When you go from 1 month to 2 months, it's again the same percentage amount. Two things were very relevant at the time. Is the scaling law, that is the scaling parameter with which this percentage increases, this is the same for short-term movements as it is for long-term. Now, why is this so important for model building in financial markets? Because unlike problems in physics, like when you try to build a global position keeping system, where you have to map and explain and predict how a trajectory moves from one place to the next, and if it will hit an objective, the kind of points of departure are fixed. In financial markets, everything is moving. And if everything is moving, there is no fixed point of reference. Fundamental prices are no substitute, because also there it is not clear what is the real fundamental value. If you take gold as an example, is the gold price that the jeweler pays for the gold is the reference, or is it the amount of price costing of extracting gold from a gold mine? So in financial markets, as also in economics, there is no kind of objective point of view, and we need a substitute, we need a frame of reference. Scaling laws can exactly do that, and they do that in the following way. You measure, as I have done here, the price movements relative to a certain time scale, and you find out that per time interval, this is the average price move that you expect. Now, the big discovery of the last 2 years is that there are actually not just 1 or 2 scaling laws, but actually there's a whole host. So we discovered, say, 17 scaling laws. And just to give you an example, one scaling law describes the following. If the price move goes up by, say, 1%, and then you have a turning point, it suddenly goes down. The question is, how far further will it go down? So the scaling law tells you, it will be exactly by another 1% on average. Now it's clear that in any one case it can be a lot more. But when it is a lot more, you know that this is a rare event, and relative to the scaling law, it allows you to make an estimate of what is the size of the overshoot. If you know that, you can start to size a position, and you can kind of introduce a metric to manage your risk. So scaling laws are a substitute for a fixed point of reference. They introduce a kind of relativistic framework from which we then can build more complex models. So looking forward to the next update. Thanks.